This is tricky.
Yes.
It's really hard, guys.
Is it?
It's really hard.
That is just crazy, by the way, because I actually, like, if someone built an all-time 11 and they put Rio Ferdinand in, I've got no problem with that. You don't think Van Dijk?
He's made it very hard, Ross.
Made it
he
hard.
has.
No, I'm interested to hear. For me, I found this very easy. It was like almost non-negotiable. I just went Terry Ferdinand.
Welcome back to the 11, brought to you by SPORTbible. Today we are doing a Premier League best ever 11. Today I've got Neve and of course Rory. How are we doing, guys?
Nervous. Very nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Just nervous.
It's easy. It should be Frank Lampard, Kante. You're going to put all the Chelsea
Do you
boys
know
in
why
there.
I'm nervous?
Yeah.
Because I know that your responsibility in this is to be an impartial adjudicator, and I know you're not going to be.
I'm very neutral. I'm a football fan. I'm a not tribal at all.
You'll be anti-me.
How are you feeling about it, Neve?
We could agree on everyone.
Yeah, could
Maybe.
be 11 out of 11.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right, we're going 4-3-3. If we cannot agree, I will be the adjudicator on the situation. We're starting right wing. Let's start off with Neve. What's your pick for right wing?
Mo Salah.
Why? Let's expand on that.
Well, I'd like. Are you Mo Salah as well?
I'm not. I think it was close, and I can see why you've gone for Salah. I think Salah is a Premier League icon and a Liverpool great. But I just don't think there's room for him in this side. I've gone here for Cristiano Ronaldo.
I also believe it is close. I think because it depends on what you pick for it. I'm interested to hear your Cristiano Ronaldo though. First.
It isn't too complex. I haven't got like a spiel. I just think that in terms of the way that he played the game, in terms of what he would do on the ball, in terms of what he did for Manchester United, I feel like Cristiano Ronaldo winning a Ballon d'Or the year that Manchester United won a double means that he just has to be in this team. I don't think that we can do a Premier League 11 in good faith and not have Cristiano Ronaldo somewhere in the team. It's just unfortunate that he's competing for a place with another icon.
Salah has gone on to go from being in the top 20 for all-time assists in the Premier League to being in the top 10. He's gone from being in the top 10 for all-time Premier League goals to now being fourth, only 18 goals away from third Wayne Rooney. He's now won his fourth Golden Boot. Only Thierry Henry has won 4 Golden Boots, apart from Mo Salah.
Yeah.
And then, not just that, he's also become the first footballer to win 3 PFA Player of the Year, so the players around him.
But that is longevity.
Of
course it is. But the
So,
peak
no, but my
that
point-
Rory's
my point
arguing about
is-
Ronaldo's peak, is that still not better than what Salah's achieved in terms of the quality of goals, winning the Ballon d'Or as well? Because what you're describing is longevity. Ronaldo never had that because he went to Real Madrid as the world's most expensive player. Is that the argument?
Exactly, and then Ronaldo as a footballer is one of the greatest of all time, no disputing it. But we are talking Premier League, and I do think this 24-25 season, when you coincide that with the record-breaking 17-18 season when he came in and he broke the record for goals in a season, this 24-25 he then went beyond that and broke even more records as well. And I just think it was 46 goal contributions in a season.
It's staggering.
Which
He's
is
come
the
off his
most
best ever
ever in
season,
a
arguably.
38-game season, by the way. So I think this season that we've just had, the 24-25, winning that second Premier League, for me, is enough where he's had enough seasons where he's been at an elite level, top in the division, plus with the 8 seasons of pure consistency and longevity.
Yeah.
Whilst I do agree that Cristiano Ronaldo was the best player on the planet whilst being in the Premier League, the length of time it just isn't quite enough.
Okay, look, I don't want to be biased because I think your argument for Salah is a very fair one. It's a great analysis, but ultimately when I'm watching as a football fan, as a neutral, as a rival to Man United, peak Ronaldo was unplayable on a whole different level. And I think Ronaldo, if he stays for the same amount of time as Salah, he already won more titles in 3 years, let alone in 8 years. He obviously won more titles than Salah's currently got. I think we have to go with Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm not trying to be biased against you. I think it's a great argument, but Ronaldo is the best player in the world. Strip it back to how they are as actual footballing talents. I actually don't know what Salah's better than Cristiano Ronaldo at doing. What's he actually better? I think Ronaldo's quicker, he's a better finisher. I think he's got better link-up play, can play anywhere across the front three. Won more titles.
There's no disputing that Ronaldo is a better footballer because Ronaldo, to many people, there's a debate, Messi or Ronaldo, for the greatest footballer. So there's no disputing that. This is about building a Premier League 11. So I think it is important to distinguish the two.
Of course, yeah, 100%. Look, I know we're not agreeing, but I have to go with Cristiano Ronaldo. Here you go, Rory.
Ronaldo's in.
Great stuff. Right, moving on to number 9. There's only one striker in a 4-3-3. Rory, do you want to start with your argument?
I went Wayne Rooney.
Oh, that's a great shout.
I went Wayne Rooney through the middle. I just feel like Wayne Rooney is, on some definition, the greatest Premier League player. He is a flawless footballer. He at one point became England's top ever goal scorer. He became Manchester United's top ever goal scorer. Some people rather sneerily seem to suggest that that wasn't enough. But I think if you're Manchester United's top ever goal scorer, and at the time you were England's top ever goal scorer,
He played everywhere as well.
it's a career. Yeah, he is the
He
most.
played down the middle
He is the
sometimes.
most techie total footballer I think England have possibly ever produced. And again, I think it's one of those arguments where you simply cannot not have Wayne Rooney in this 11.
100%. What's your shout, Neve?
Yeah, so I pondered over the idea of, I think Alan Shearer needs to be mentioned, Harry Kane, Aguero, but for me it has to be Wayne Rooney as well.
Yeah.
Especially for my generation, he was the face of the Premier League.
Right, I'll give it to you, Royce. Oh, 2 Man United players, I can't believe it.
It's kind of to be expected,
They've
though, isn't
won
it,
a
when you
lot
think
of
of their
Premier
contribution?
Leagues,
Yeah.
Let's move on to left wing. Neve, who's your shout for left wing?
So I have been sneaky and I've gone with Thierry Henry. And I do think when you watch Arsenal, there were many games where within his game he would drift to the left, sometimes even drift to the right, but drift to the left to collect the ball. So I think I'm allowed to do that. And I don't think you're allowed to do an 11 without Thierry Henry.
Yeah, I will concede, though, that it is cheating, because I've done the same thing. It was done because you cannot, in good faith, create a team and not have Thierry Henry in it.
Henry has to be in. For me, he's the icon of modern Premier League football in a way that Eric Cantona was in the 1990s, maybe Erling Haaland is right now.
Yeah.
So I think Henry has to get in there 100%. Right, here's left wing, Thierry Henry. It's a fluid system. We're in 2025. Thierry Henry can definitely operate off the left. Come on.
Yeah, he can.
What about our midfield 3? Because this is an interesting kind of situation. A defensive-minded midfielder, maybe 2 attacking-minded midfielders. Should we start off in this kind of position, an attacking-minded midfielder? What are you thinking?
I've gone Frank Lampard.
Yep.
I've gone Frank Lampard is in, I mean, for every reason that is incredibly obvious. For obviously guiding Chelsea to league titles, for having those iconic moments, to breaking the Chelsea all-time goal-scoring record at Villa Park, breaking Bobby Tamlin's record, equalising it and breaking it in the same game. His contribution, despite the fact that I know this isn't really the conversation, captained us in Munich. You know, he captained London's only
End of his career as well.
representative.
That goes under the radar. He's kind of an older Frank Lampard.
Absolutely. But I think the consistency, the goal scoring record that is just
Brilliant for Man City as well.
just unrivaled. Like, it's truly unrivaled.
Yeah.
You know, he sits 7th in the all-time goal scoring charts. You
I think
think about
he was
the
the first
icons.
midfielder to get 100 goals, wasn't he?
Oh, it's
First
incredible.
midfielder to get. I mean, and the other thing with him as well, like, just something that's almost always forgotten. Like, he was always available. Like, the availability being a key component of a footballer. He was just always available. He broke the record for consistent Premier League starts. It was David James's record.
Incredible.
It was a keeper's
A keeper,
record.
yeah.
He's a central midfielder, a combative central midfielder. Injuries, suspensions. He broke the goalkeeper's consecutive Premier League record. I just think he is as iconic to the Premier League as any other footballer that I can think
I
of.
want to know if Neve agrees with Frank Lampard.
I don't disagree, but I didn't pick him. I've gone for Kevin De Bruyne.
Can I ask why, firstly, before we eulogise Kevin De Bruyne, which I'm looking forward to, Frank Lampard, why didn't you put him in?
Do you know, it's just because I've picked the 3 I've picked. It's not a negative upon Frank Lampard. I've just picked my 3.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I've picked Kevin De Bruyne is because for multiple years, you could arguably say at least 5, where you pinpoint the iconic person of the Premier League who is going to come to that game and be the best player on the pitch most weeks. And I think it's been De Bruyne. It's a goal and assist every 111 minutes.
That's staggering.
Did it in the FA Cup final, didn't he? One
FA
year?
Cup
Did he come
final.
on and just like totally dictate the FA Cup
He
final?
was injured, 6-0 against Watford,
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. Do you think Frank Lampard is hindered in these arguments because De Bruyne was just part of a side that a little bit more consistent than
Yeah, they won
Chelsea,
more.
more league titles, domestic trebles,
Yeah.
100-point seasons? Do you think that hinders Frank Lampard?
I think the fact that it's more recent hinders as well. I think
Yeah.
the fact that it's like Kevin De Bruyne has only just left the Premier League.
I think for me, De Bruyne has to go in. Maybe we can debate the second position of attacking midfielders, but for me, De Bruyne, part of a side that is the second most decorated club in the history of the Premier League, 100-point seasons, 4 in a row. Frank Lampard won three league titles.
Yeah.
De Bruyne's won 4 in a row. It's staggering. So I have to be a little bit biased for the first time in this video. But De Bruyne has to get in there somewhere. Maybe there's space for Frank Lampard later. Right, Neve, here is Kevin De Bruyne. Thanks for that. I really appreciate you backing Kevin. Right, the next attacking midfielder. Who's your shout?
Well, so it's not necessarily my next 2 midfielders. You wouldn't call them attacking midfielders, I don't think. So, but I'll tell you one of my next midfielders, and I'll go for Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, I've got Gerrard in mind as well. I rate Gerrard so highly. He did things that I just didn't think were possible. His contribution to Liverpool, outrageous. Like, I love him, and I don't. He is the embodiment of a Liverpool team that were a huge rival of ours. Like the Chelsea-Liverpool antipathy of that era was unreal. Like, we had some major issues with Liverpool at the time. And I have to put him in, but I nearly didn't. Primarily around the debate, can you be in an all-time Premier League 11 when you have never lifted the trophy?
He must be the best player to have never lifted it. He must be.
Kane, maybe.
I think he was ahead of his time as a footballer. I think he's one of those footballers from them where
Yeah, he's a total footballer.
put him in today's game.
Yeah, 100%.
He is a total. I think you put him in any game there. I think you're right. He would flourish today, but I also think he would flourish in 1966 playing for England.
Right, let's put Steven Gerrard in. I think we have to have him in there somewhere. An unbelievable midfielder. Thank you very much. So many, by the way. Even Ballack and Essien.
No
Lampard. Someone like David Silva, Ilkay Gundogan, Yaya Toure. There's loads, Roars.
Yeah.
There's loads.
I am surprised, but it is what it is.
Yeah, 100%. Let's move on to defensive midfielder. Who's your shout?
I've gone N'Golo Kante here.
Wow. What a player. Unbelievable.
I've gone Kante.
Carried the league title from Leicester City, which is a miracle. A miracle. He takes it to Chelsea.
It's amazing.
Now I have actually gone for Paul Scholes, and I am
Risky
happy
there.
to admit,
deep
I'm happy
ball,
to
right?
admit that with Kevin De Bruyne and Gerrard, maybe there's not a good enough balance there. But he was my favourite midfielder growing up. Paul Scholes is why I've gone for that. Paul Scholes, to be fair to him, is a player that maybe off the ball the tackling is not quite there, but on the ball he would drop deep quite a lot as well later on.
I think you could definitely argue Scholes. I mean, you could argue him anywhere. Obviously, he's a brilliant footballer, but in perhaps a different shape. Scholes far up here. Scholes playing off Cantona. I think you could certainly see a world where he's in any great Premier League team.
Have we done it wrong? Is it more like if we're putting in Scholes? Is it Gerrard there? Can Gerrard do that defensive role more than Scholes, and we put Scholes in?
No, you've got to have Gerrard going forward, man. Gerrard, I think you've got to have Gerrard going forward. But Scholes is an icon, and you know what we're talking 11 league titles. It almost argues itself. Booth, I'm happy to leave it to you. I think if nothing else, I think Kante deserves to be spoken about on this top table. And even if you decide it's Scholes, I can certainly live in a world where Paul Scholes is in a Premier League.
I think Guardiola, Sir Alex Ferguson sat in my chair, picks Paul Scholes. I think Kante plays for Arteta when he's trying to park the bus every single week. That's how I see it's going to happen. Right, Paul Scholes, there you go.
God, I'm not doing very well here.
Right, let's move on to centre-backs. Who are your 2 picks?
So my 2 are John Terry and Virgil van Dijk.
Wow. Rory, what are you saying?
I agree with one. Mine is John Terry, Rio Ferdinand.
This is tricky.
Yes.
It's really hard, guys.
Is it?
It's really hard.
That
It's
is
getting a lot
it's
closer.
just crazy, by the way, because I actually, like, if someone built an all-time 11 and they put Rio Ferdinand in, I've got no problem with that. I think it's crazy, though, that you're suggesting it's not hard. You don't think Van Dijk
He's made it very hard, Ross.
Made it
he
hard.
has. He's made it very difficult, this discussion, Van Dijk. Last season, best centre-back in the world.
Yeah. No, I'm interested to hear. For me, I found this very easy. It was like almost non-negotiable. I just went Terry Ferdinand.
Yeah.
But
I feel with Van Dijk, it's where he sticks out to me is that I don't tend to see it often that a centre-back comes into a team and has such an impact on a team. Like, he elevates them in so many different ways. Although, if I'm real as well, I feel like with Rio Ferdinand, I'm not disputing that he's on the ball quality. If he probably had more time and more chance to do it, would have been really good. But I almost feel like United, when you watch them back in games, they're not really set out for Rio Ferdinand to do that. So maybe like Paul Scholes will drop deeper and collect the ball, for example. Whereas when you watch Van Dijk, he's heavily involved in so much of the build-up.
Unbelievable passer of the ball.
Then, of course, you've got the actual being a centre-back. and looking at Liverpool and what they were like defensively pre-Van Dijk and then post-Van Dijk.
I don't think that there is any metric where he can be seen as being a better player than Rio Ferdinand. I just don't see it at all.
What about the ball playing, like we've just said?
I think Rio Ferdinand was excellent on the ball. Rio Ferdinand was
his
excellent
time
on the
as
ball.
well.
Rio Ferdinand would often start Manchester United attacks. He would carry the ball forward. He didn't have the passing range, perhaps, in terms of the long ball of a John Terry or even a Virgil van Dijk. But Manchester United played in a very different way. It wasn't necessarily asked of him as often.
Right, let's start off with John Terry. We've barely talked about him. He's won a Premier League 10 years apart as captain. I think he's number one for basically a majority of Premier League football fans. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I think Terry's in, obviously.
There you go. Easy.
Thank you very much.
We haven't come to an agreement with the centre-backs. I'm going to have to use my head as opposed to my heart because Rio Ferdinand are obviously playing for a rival club to Manchester City, but he's a legend of the game and far more successful than Virgil van Dijk. Right, Rory, you were spot on with that, mate. I have to agree with you. Rio Ferdinand. Right, the fullbacks. Let's start off right back. Neve, who's your shout?
Gary Neville.
Gary Neville.
Standard. How close is Kyle Walker?
Very, but no, very close.
Am I crazy if I was to put Kyle Walker in? Am I crazy?
No, you're certainly not crazy. Kyle Walker is a totally valid,
very close,
totally valid argument. I just feel like Gary Neville's reputation, primarily because of his own self-deprecation, has suffered. His legacy has suffered because of his own.
It's amazing
ridiculous,
what he achieved.
Yeah, he's an amazing player.
Right, Gary Neville for you. Oh, it's looking good, this team. I'm glad we got a Man City player in there. Left back, what are we doing?
Again, this is probably the most. This is a formality, isn't it? It's a procession. It's Ashley Cole, and I don't think there's really a conversation to be had.
I agree, Ashley Cole.
Is the badge blue or red?
Blue.
What do you think?
Well, where did he win the league?
As a Premier League legacy, the Invincibles with Arsenal, multiple league titles with Chelsea.
Arsenal don't want him.
I think blue.
Yeah,
Blue?
Arsenal don't want him. They hate him. They call him Cashley.
Right, Ashley Cole, left back. There you go.
There he is, the boy.
Right, moving on to goalkeeper. This is very, very tricky.
It is hard.
There must be 5, 6. Donnarumma's going to be in this video in 10 years' time. We've got to come back to this studio in 10 years' time. Donnarumma's a shout, 100%.
You go early with it sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, maybe a little bit too early, 6 weeks in. What are you thinking then for your shout?
Petr Cech.
Okay.
Petr Cech, because I honestly believe that he is the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. I mean, you can talk about the brilliance of Peter Schmeichel, and I get it. But what Petr Cech did at Chelsea, a lot of people talk about the impact that a goalkeeper had at Liverpool. Petr Cech was that. We signed him from Rennes for £7 million and basically won the league.
Yeah, Petr Cech's sense of danger was just incredible. I've gone for Peter Schmeichel.
Yeah, I get it.
And yeah, it's just purely this idea of, I think he's a goalkeeper that was ahead of his time. I think he was a catalyst goalkeeper. I think he represented the Premier League for a long time as the face of it. And, you know, you talk about distribution. His kicking was powerful. His throws were obscene. And also, Peter Schmeichel was... In
terms of like that save, like, you know, that starfish save he used to do when he would come out and smother. I think it was the first to do it. You know, just to come out in that ridiculously brave.
And if you get that wrong, Man United, they had their foundational years in the Premier League, winning everything. They were the first major winners in the Premier League era. It's all because of Schmeichel.
Yeah,
if that's the wrong transfer, it doesn't work out. The whole back line struggles. I'm going to put the final one down, guys. Peter Schmeichel for me, of course, a Manchester City legend, as well as Manchester United and Aston Villa, but what a keeper. That is the 11. That is an outstanding, strong, bold 11. Right, Domino's Pizza has arrived, guys. Thanks very much for doing the video with me. I have to say I'm a bit angry. No David Silva.
Only one City player, mate.
No David Silva. What are we doing, guys?
You do make an interesting point about City. One City player. They have been for years and years now. They're sort of reaching a level of dominance that we've seen United have. United rightly had 6 players in that team. At what point does City start to have